Hello, my name is Isabel and I am part of the research team here at Keylime Interactive. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar, The Coming Evolution in AI and the Relevance to UXR. Keylime Interactive is a user experience research firm that conducts both qualitative and quantitative research for Fortune 500 companies, mid to large design agencies, and government agencies. Other areas of focus are strategic, for example, persona and CJM, as well as staff augmentation. Currently, we provide full-time and part-time on-site consultants that seamlessly integrate into our clients' teams. Today, our guest speaker is Steve Foster. Steve is our very own VP of Client Insights. He will be discussing how it is the role of UX researchers to usher in the coming evolution in AI, make these changes more compelling, and perhaps help protect us from ourselves. Before I hand it over to Steve, I want to mention that there's a chat window in the control panel in order for everyone to communicate with us. If you have any questions during the webinar, I encourage you to type it in the chat window and he'll get to them at the end of the broadcast. With that, I will turn it over to you, Steve.
Thanks so much, Isabel. I also want to thank all of our viewers today for making the time to attend our webinar. So today we're going to talk about what AR is, what's giving rise to artificial intelligence today, what it's trying to accomplish, what the current status is, and then we want to give you some of the market statistics in terms of how the growth of AI is coming about, and what we see as the near and interim future of artificial intelligence. And then finally, we want to give you some tools and advice in terms of how to involve yourself in user experience research with artificial intelligence. So quickly, artificial intelligence is really the science of training PCs and computers to perform the tasks that you and I are doing in our daily lives right now. It's basically a machine replacing a lot of the tasks that you have in your life. There's two really big variants of artificial intelligence. One is known as deep learning, and deep learning is essentially finding statistical patterns in large amounts of data and then making predictions or outcomes from that particular data within that database. Machine learning is the other variant where the technology is going to learn patterns and devise information from one body of data and then extrapolate that learning to another body of data. This is in many ways is the true sense of AI learning. Where is AI going in the near future? Natural language processing and natural language understanding are kind of the leading aspects of really involving ourselves in a voice-first user experience environment. This is where we see AI going. So what is AI trying to accomplish in our daily lives? Well, one of the first observations is its pattern recognition, looking at data and seeing what are predictions that are able to be derived from large bodies of data. Another aspect is classifying information, segmenting information, if you will. Another common application of AI is image recognition, looking and seeing the similarities between one image and another. The growing voice-first world that we're moving into is going to involve speech-to-text, where you can talk to artificial intelligence and it will transcribe that for you. Cognitive search is where the search is actually occurring beyond the typed-in letters or the voice commands that you're involving yourselves in. This will involve natural language interaction, which is a colloquial means of expressing yourselves to an artificial intelligence app and it being able to understand you. And at the same time, having the artificial intelligence being able to generate in a language that you can understand and appreciate also. So the near future of artificial intelligence, it's clearly moving into the business world as one would expect. We're giving an example of one firm, it's Google, and this will involve the interoperability of different applications in different platforms. Just Google has Google Home, Google Assistant, Google Mini, Chromecast, Chromebook, Pixel, Google Search, Google Store, Google Nest. All of these different areas of the company are all collecting information on users. Being able to integrate this understanding and extrapolate this understanding via artificial intelligence is really the opportunity of Google moving into the future. And there are other firms such as Amazon who could also do something similar. So this is going to involve in the sharing of knowledge of users' behaviors across just these devices, potentially with other businesses. For example, an Amazon sharing information with a Nordstrom's.com across networks, so the internet and mobile networks. distribution and sales channels, so online versus brick and mortar operations and all of these different areas collect information that potentially can be used in artificial intelligence to produce a better outcome for you, the consumer. A confirmation of artificial intelligence impact is a statement made recently by Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. He's looking at lifetime anticipatory shipping will use your search history, cookies, advanced algorithms, all to determine everything you will ever want, need, and likely purchase. And this is a statement from a very impressive, dynamic business in all of our lives today. So what gave rise to artificial intelligence? There's three initial primary factors. It's the ability to store large amounts of data, the ability to access that data from storage, and the processing power to actually understand what's going on with all of this information. And then the fourth factor is actual machine-generated code, where, in other words, the application or the device is actually performing its own understanding via programming on its own. When we look at the impact of artificial intelligence on our economy in the US right now, large technical companies, not just all companies, have spent $30 billion in artificial intelligence and invested another $6 billion in AR startups just since 2016. We've also seen a 14 times increase in the number of active artificial intelligence startups since the year 2000. And the number of jobs requiring some form of artificial intelligence skills has grown 4.5 times since 2013. When we looked at monster.com and the terms and the skills that are being used there, machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing were the three most in-demand skills on monster.com. The near future of artificial intelligence, how are we seeing this occurring? It's really going to be voice. We're thinking of conversational user interfaces increasingly being the means of driving the technology around you. Artificial intelligence will also be predictive of your behavior and proactive in terms of how it's going to respond to your needs and wants. AI will also move from not merely a personalized interaction with yourself, but one that's really characterized as individualized to just yourself. It's unique in knowing you and your behaviors. Another aspect of the coming AI evolution is what we're terming small artificial intelligence. These are very specialized apps that may be home utilities that are running the temperature and the air conditioning and the television and the security systems within your house. It may be music apps. It may be shopping apps that are looking for your needs and wants and things that you may be looking for across different vendors. Then there's the big artificial intelligence, and these are really the applications and devices that are very closely replicate human cognition, your actual thinking, via auto-generated code, fast processing, and predictive leaps, such as IBM Watson's is now doing. So how will UX and artificial intelligence relate to each other in the coming future? This is an example of today's user interface. This is an airline check-in page, plenty of text, plenty of drop-downs, a lot of numerics, a lot of language, a lot of things that we've all grown used to over time, both on mobile and desktop devices. This is an aspect of tomorrow's user interface. Far more simpler, far more streamlined, and voice-driven. So how will that, when we look at user experience and the spoken language, natural language processing is the key aspect or key technology at the core of artificial intelligence. It's really doing two different informational tasks for us right now. And these can alternate depending upon the circumstances. We have text-based interfaces, chatbots, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, iMessage, merchants' websites. This tends to be preferred by people because of the level of accuracy they see and also for privacy, and I'll talk about that in just a second. We also have voice-based NLP, natural language processing agents, such as Siri or Alexa or Google Assistant. This tends to be preferred by users for the ease of use and its speed of application. When we talk about the privacy protection up top, is that people like to have the choice of being able to text and or voice command the applications that they're looking at. And the reason being is that one doesn't want to speak their private information, such as a credit card number, out loud. You'd rather type something in like that. So going into the future, a user's got to be able to have a choice in terms of how they want to interact with the devices around them. So when we look at you, the user experience researcher, in terms of what do you want to be prepared to start covering in the research designs that you put forward, privacy is going to be a key concern of users in any kind of artificial intelligence application. Security, what's the level of perceived security? Typically, this is engendered by trust in the platform that one is using, such as an Amazon.com or their banking application, or the provider's brand, that you know this is, say, the Social Security Service or it's Wells Fargo. There's also another aspect that will be new in terms of AI concerns for UX researchers going forward, and it's the comfort and fear factor of using artificial intelligence in their daily life. We're going to talk about something in another slide, and it's called the uncanny valley. Another aspect of users' concerns about using artificial intelligence will be their own personal displacement. In other words, I used to do this in my past life. Now I don't need to do this as one of my tasks in my daily life. And also the concept of disintermediation, meaning that not only are they not doing that, but they've lost their job. Answers can commonly include transaction confirmation. So users, when they're interacting with something on artificial intelligence, you want to hear or understand that yes, the transaction has occurred as you anticipated and expected, such as a bank deposit. The choice of the application, as I was mentioning before, do I want to do this with voice? Do I want to do this with text? That's another aspect of engendering security. And then human support. In other words, if I can't get done what I'm anticipating doing with the AI app, can I turn to some form of human support where I can ask somebody about the issues that I'm encountering? So key for the user experience researcher is going to be focusing on the user's comfort with the application and also being able to understand the voice, speech, and language interactions and considerations. I was mentioning a little bit before about the concept of the uncanny valley. In aesthetics, there's a relationship between the resemblance to being a human and clearly non-human, and a person's comfort level with interacting with that. There's as something starts out as an object starts out as clearly non-human, people tend to appreciate it and be comfortable with it. As it grows increasingly human-like, but it's clearly not human still, people get uncomfortable with it till they finally reach a point where the AI application or object is so human-like that people once again feel comfortable with it. This valley is the point in time with a human interaction where people are really creeped out by the object or the application. So user experience research and artificial intelligence. As I was mentioning before, the focus will increasingly be on conversational user interfaces, voice-first applications, and focusing on enhancing, what does it take to enhance users' trust and comfort with using this particular application, and a focus on understanding the unintended consequences of a misuse or an unintended aspect of the applications, especially with increasingly sophisticated AI applications. In many ways, the UX researcher may be serving as a guardian for people's personal privacy and safety of information moving forward. So in terms of our recommendations to the user experience researcher and working with artificial intelligence testing, your testing may be more like a psychological interview as opposed to the traditional UX page test where you're running different pages by somebody and you're looking at the aesthetics and the layout and the understandability. When you're talking on topics such as comfort and security, it's more likely to be a Q&A type of session. Another thing that we're recommending from our experience is a real-life context used in your testing. For example, if you're testing an automotive-based artificial intelligence app, do it within the car. If you're testing a chatbot, test it in real life as a person would use it. If you're looking at someone's usage of an application or a device within the home, such as a robot, do it in the home. Another aspect of recommendations that we're giving from user experience research practices with artificial intelligence, it's understanding the features naturally to really get a true reflection of a user's behavior with it. What I mean by that is that a user has to be allowed to actually understand how to use an application or a device. It takes some time. And testing the features in a natural order of progression, this will take a little more from you on a design front than a lot of other testing that you may have done in the past life. Socially appropriate artificial intelligence voice app training. So the application's actually learning your behaviors when you're using it. So asking the right questions in your testings in the right order at the right time so that the app can really form a real true to life understanding of you, the user, is going to be required in the testing. Another thing that we've seen in our work is testing the application at different times throughout the day and throughout the work week. People react differently at different times of the day. Another aspect of good user experience research practices with AI is the data that you're collecting is going to be structured. And if you want to codify and effectively analyze it for pattern recognition, you're going to have to develop some relatively sophisticated spreadsheets that may use color coding and different semantics for effectively being able to access and analyze your data. Another tool that's potentially useful for you as a UX researcher is biometrics. This allows you to understand how a person is truly feeling about a particular application. In other words, how are they emotionally feeling about it? Are they aroused? Are they alarmed? Are they excited? Their level of attention to the task at hand is also you can also measure with a biometrics testing. One reason that we recommend biometrics as a potential solution in your testing here is that 90% of the processing is subconscious for a human's reaction to the interface that they're using. Only 10% is conscious. Biometrics allows you to track and measure these experiences and these reactions on the user's part as opposed to a traditional Q&A type of approach. That's our webinar for today on artificial intelligence and its relevance to UXR. Isabel?
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and we hope to see you at our next installment of our UX Trailblazers webinar series. We'll be getting this recording out to all of you, and happy Wednesday from your friends at Key Lime Interactive.